all those department heads that aren't here yet. We'll just be
Yeah. There's a few seats still up front. There's 2 seats up front.
There's one right here, Sheriff.
Yep.
You.
All right. At this time, we're going to have H.R. Cook introduce a guest who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you very much. I am very happy to have a very, very special guest, my daughter, Alexandra Cook, Chairman First Class. Alex Cook will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, wow. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to our public hearing for our budget for 2014. And at this time, we will open the public hearing and take any comments that the public may have. And you can step up to the podium and please state your name and then make your comments. Thank you.
Greetings, Commissioners. My name is Earl McIntosh, and I live at 4208 Southwest Stony Brook Drive, Topeka, Kansas, 66610. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before the Commission this evening. I want all of you to know that I think you all are good people and care deeply about Shawnee County. With that being said, I'm here to talk about a difficult topic, property taxes, and I'm going to be very frank in my testimony. Shawnee County is destroying homeownership in our community. The homeowners of our county have no more money to give. Homeownership is a 20-year low and renting is a 20-year high. The demands we put on responsible people who own homes is not fair. Homeowners are the backbone of our society and we pay way more than our fair share. Let's take a look at who takes our hard-earned money from our property taxes. The state gets 1.5 mills, the county gets 44.196 mills, the city gets 35.838 mills, the Metro Transit gets 4.2 mills, the Metro Airport gets 1.22 mills, the library gets 9.783 mills, Washburn University gets 3.318 mills, our school districts get 44.038 mills. That totals up to 154.086 mills. As you can see, everyone has their hands in the pot. The problem is our government at all levels has reached a point where it is now outpacing the private sector. Shawnee County government has taken on a life of its own, and soon Shawnee County commissioners won't be able to steer the ship. Here's what homeowners in Shawnee County are facing in 2013. Shawnee County, City of Topeka, local school districts, Metro Airport, County Library, Washburn University, all raising our taxes. In addition to the taxes, the food we buy at grocery stores is 40% higher. Gas is up $1 a gallon from last year. Westar is raising our electrical rates. Our water rates are increasing. Because of all the storms in the past few years, insurance companies are increasing homeowners insurance premiums. As a side note, I want you to know that it's not fair the county library can raise our taxes without county commissioners or taxpayers' consent. That is taxation without representation, and their tax authority should be revoked. Did you know there are literally thousands of delinquent homeowners in Shawnee County who haven't paid their property taxes? This totals millions of dollars in back taxes. I feel like the county is taking advantage of responsible homeowners by raising their taxes because it's the easy thing to do. It's much easier just to raise taxes. Why can't we go after the people who aren't paying their taxes? But I want to warn you, if you keep raising our taxes and not acting fiscally responsible, this number will only rise. Again, the county is destroying homeownership. I thought long and hard for an adjective to describe what homeowners are facing this year and in the future. And the only word I'm coming up with is madness. Inflation starts the county, and every time the county raises taxes, it has a ripple effect. Let's say I charge up all my credit cards and get into debt. Can I come to the Shawnee County Commissioners and force you to pay my bills? Obviously, the answer is no, but I do question why year after year of irresponsible spending and tax increases, you want to take more from hardworking homeowners who have no more money to give. We pay more than our fair share. Every day I talk with people who are homeowners, and I can tell you, people are hurting, and they're hurting bad. Most people on fixed incomes can't even begin to keep up with all the tax increases and price increases on essentials like food, water, and gas. We want people owning homes. It's better for our society when people own property. It's a sign of a healthy economy. Well, that's in danger in Shawnee County, and I'm telling you, homeowners can't afford to pay a penny more in taxes or expenses. Please get the money somewhere else. Homeowners are the most giving people in our community. With all the tax increases and high inflation, people aren't giving as much. Thus, the county will end up supporting more and more people. The only way to stop or slow down the growth of county government and inflation is not to raise tax and cut spending. Finally, private sector incomes have not increased. However, public income and government spending is up dramatically. This is unsustainable and out of control and will soon become the #1 threat to our county. I'm asking the commissioners to do the right thing and not raise our taxes and make the necessary cuts to our county budget. If you raise taxes, you're just kicking the can down the road. I pray every day for my leaders and for people in my community who struggle to make ends meet. Raising taxes is only creating a dependent society and destroying homeownership in Shawnee County. Thank you for your service to your community. Do you have any questions for me?
Do not, Commissioners. Thank you for your comments.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Well, I don't have any prepared notes, but I'll speak off the cuff. My name's Edsel Rudolph. I'm a small farmer in northern Shawnee County, and I'm a business owner here in North Topeka. And I pay a lot of taxes, especially on my business, way more than I feel. But I'm not here to talk about that. Appreciate all of your service. What seemed like a thankless job to you folks at times, but you're in the job, and we've elected you, so I hope you can do your very best. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Shawnee County Noxious Weeds Department, a department that's been in place many years, directed by John Cabas, and they've been cut, I understand, from 400,000 down to 300,000. You want to cut them again, and how are they going to operate? There's state law. There's 5 noxious weeds, and I can name 4 of them: musk thistle, bindweed, Johnson grass, and Cereus lestibisa. And some of you folks from the city may not know anything about them, but I'm here to tell you, if you ever get bindweed in your yard, that pretty little white flower in your garden or your yard, you've got it for life. You have to kill everything to get rid of it. And the state and the county are supposed to maintain our road systems, and I've seen them go out and spray when they mow, and the city has done a good job, and I think the county has done a good job in mowing, but these weeds are a serious problem, and then they can drift from the right-of-ways on the property. I know that a lot of people went out in the county and built homes, they don't know about it, and then they get a letter that they've got noxious weeds, which are illegal. You commissioners would expect all of us citizens to obey the laws, wouldn't you? Well, what about the legal aspect? If you cut this department down and they can't do their job, it's illegal to have these weeds. So I hope you can consider to refund this department fully. I know Topeka's had the beautification project. Mr. Kelsey's supposed to take care of the parks and the little gardens around there. And something that the city could work with you guys in finding some money to keep this department funded. And then you have a man that's been in the job many years, Mr. Cabas. He don't even have a secretary anymore to take calls. He's doing everything. He can't leave the office. You know, a man like that has a lot of experience. Somebody else could pay him a lot more money. And then if you let something go like this, Mrs. Bueller, I think you live out by Rossville, don't you? Have you driven through Maple Hill or in Wabaunsee County? Have you seen the amount of bindweed in that town and on the yards around it? You're starting to see it come up in Shawnee County, and I just hope that you folks can do something. And we're not talking about a huge amount of money to refund this department. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
I'm Steve Hensey. I farm out of Tecumseh area, and I was kind of talk about the weed department too. Is we have to control the noxious weeds in our fields, and if you drive the roads, several years ago, county kept the noxious weeds down, and the last year or so, drive them and you see a lot of Johnson grass and field bindweed. And I was hoping that you could keep the budget a little higher for noxious weed department. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I did make me some notes so I could remember everything, because I've had a brain bleeding last year. Good evening, Commissioners. My name's Steve Grandstaff. I'm a lifelong member of the Tecumseh and Lecompton community. I'm here to talk with you tonight about the Shawnee County Weed Department. You are currently funding the Weed Department at about 75% of the needs. That would be the equivalent of taking 25% of the trash trucks out of service. Creates a problem. True cost of not funding the Weed Department now will be experienced in future years, as was described earlier. The return on investment from the Weed Department is phenomenal. It's unrealized, unrecognized many times, but nonetheless phenomenal. If you want a prime example of what's going to happen if it keeps going like it is, go out to the Washburn Rural School, High School. It has bindweed all over the place out there. Now that doesn't sound like a big deal until you decide that the kids walking through that are going to take those seeds home with them. And that's going to spread it even worse. John has been running the Shawnee County Weed Department very effectively for 15 plus years, has given us an excellent model in this county for surrounding counties as well as statewide. Being as we are in the capital city of Kansas, I think that we should present the best face that we can with a reasonable manner. The Weed Department appears to be frugal. Not a lot of fluff over there. There's not any fluff that I've seen. They try to run a bare bones service and do the service that's necessary at the least cost. It's a valuable service in Shawnee County, and I'd like to see that they have adequate funding to perform their duties. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Mariana Quilty, and I'm President of the League of Women Voters of Topeka, Shawnee County, and I prepared a statement from the League to read to you this evening. We congratulate the county for its continuing support of curbside recycling and appreciate the work of commissioners and staff in attempting to control the costs of good government and services. We still hold on to the hope for metropolitan planning and eventual consolidation of city-county government. The League supports an equitable and variable tax breaks for all levels of government that include income tax, property tax, sales tax, franchise taxes, and user fees. We recognize that property taxes and sales taxes are regressive in that they impact the poor and middle class disproportionately in relation to their incomes. We recommend consideration of user fees for essential services such as sheriff's calls for property owners who are exempt from property tax, yet rely on the county for this essential service. Shawnee County appraisal data reports that nearly 900 tax-exempt properties are within the city of Topeka and more than 100 others in the county. Their combined assessed value, from 10 to 30% of real estate value, totals hundreds of millions of dollars. These entities include nonprofit housing, churches, service organizations, cemeteries, private trusts, businesses, and state and federal buildings. These tax-exempt organizations are also generally exempt from sales, heavy equipment, and vehicle property tax as well. We believe that the basis of exemptions is largely the enrichment of the quality of life for Shawnee County residents. We also believe that those receiving the tax-exempt status must have a spirit of responsibility to share in the cost of good county government. When possible, we think they should be asked to ensure another stream of income that provides for the continuing quality of services they receive from their local government. And I also have here, and I've got a copy for each one of you, it is our League of Women, State League of Women Voters consensus policy regarding tax-exempt properties, and you could read this at your leisure here.
Thank you.
Just get this out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Thank you, Commissioners, for giving me this opportunity. I want to commend Airman Cook on the Pledge of Allegiance. And thank you for serving during these troubled times. I had some photographs, and I apologize. I was in a hurry, and I left them on the counter.
And sir,
But I'm
please,
here on behalf of...
sir, please state your name
Oh,
so we can get it for the record.
Elliott,
Okay, just one.
5410 Southeast Stanley Road.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shawn.
Mhm.
I left the photographs on the counter, but the weed department cannot afford a cut. 2 years ago, everything was doing good. They had enough manpower to go out and spray the roads. And there's noxious weeds and obnoxious weeds. They would spray the obnoxious weeds. I have a sign. That's one of the pictures I want to bring out on East 53rd that says 40 mile an hour, but all it says is the 40 because an obnoxious weed is growing over the sign at this time. And Johnson grass is the hardest thing really to control because the mowers pick it up here on one side of the county, bring it over to another, equipment, everything. That's where all this stuff gets started, bindweed, thistles. But I've known John for years, and one day I was in there getting some chemicals for some bindweed, and he's the only man there. And since I was in no big hurry, I thought I'd just kind of sit down, relax, and see what's going on. He was answering the phone, loading the trucks, getting the sprayers, and taking the money. And answering the phone is a big deal at the weed department because a lot of people ask questions. One man can't handle that position. I mean, I know he has some part-time staff, but during rush time, this is kind of a rush time for bindweed. I don't think, if you understand, some of us do, he takes care of the whole county and even part of the city. And, you know, there's just not enough manpower in that shop to handle the workload that's required by the state to take care of the noxious weeds. I have some property out in Reno County, and it's just a disaster out there because of the noxious weeds. They ignored them, not taking care of them, and it's a lot of properties overgrown with noxious weeds that should be done away with. So I thank you for this opportunity, and I hope I made some sense.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you, Commissioners, for having this little meeting. My name is Mike Brink. I live in Dover, Kansas. Lived there since May of '71. And two things, number one, the personal property tax is atrocious. Today, this year, if they don't raise it anymore, it takes 4 years and 8 months to pay more in personal property tax than I gave for the place I live on. If anybody wants to do the math, that's not a good deal. And I come to help John. It's the only department in Shawnee County that you see, every time you see their guys are working. Always. As far as I'm concerned, that's worth a lot. And he helps a lot of people. He puts up with a lot of people that don't know nothing. And every time you call him, he's always there. I had a guy, a rich guy come out, you know, I've got a few cattle, I don't farm, but I've got a few cattle at different places in Shawnee County. And there's a guy, you know, everybody comes out and builds $1 million house on 20 acres and likes to grow a lot of thistles. And even more is the reason. But you call John and he can get it straightened out. But you gotta set the funding off for that deal, it'll be a wreck. You got money to buy $1 million worth of flowers to put in a roundabout, but you don't have money to make us compliant with the law. You'll be sued just like the state of Oklahoma's getting sued by the landowners for not being compliant. May not mean anything to you, but it means something to me. As far as the taxes on my place, you can raise them all you want, because it's in my last will and testament that when I die, that house is to be burnt, so nobody else has to do this, because it's not right, ain't even close to right. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, County Commissioners. Joseph Ledbetter. I'm an attorney here in Topeka, and I also have a small farm where I live, 8042 Southeast California, and there are no muskweeds there, or thistles. I know what they look like. I hate them, because I did spend part of my life on a farm, and I got rid of them. You know, what they're saying about this department probably makes a lot of sense. So you don't want to be sued for public nuisances and things like that. I want to talk about some other issues in the budget that I'm concerned about. First off, one of the reasons revenue isn't growing to these various government entities in Shawnee County is because we've got 10,000 less jobs in the private sector over the last 10 years. We've got 2,000 less state jobs since 2009. That's 20%. Poverty's up in the city of Topeka 50%. Westar has raised our rates 55% since 2008. 18 times they've asked for rate increases. How is that all related? It's very related. People can't take anymore. Now, one of the things that I pushed for was to get Parks and Rec, and you know, there's probably some people in this room wouldn't like that, but I asked for Parks and Rec to be a county-wide entity. And I think they're trying to do a good job, but I've got some suggestions on how to cut some of those costs. But what angers me is, I will bring this up to the city, is they got $3 million in savings, and now they want to raise the property taxes for the city residents and the city businesses, and I've got a business here, 6.5 mils. It's ridiculous. What we've got is a failure to communicate. We have a lot of people that can't pay more, and we've got, and I'm not necessarily talking about you here tonight, but politicians that aren't listening. And a lot of them need thrown out. Now, what I'd like to see with, there's a couple things I would like out of Parks and Rec. I do serve as president of Highcrest, and I've been asked to bring this up in a meeting. We just got Avondale East from 501 through some nonprofits, and there's some good things going on over there. There's 6,000 people in that area, and there's a lot of kids. We would like you to at least try a couple little Parks and Rec programs, and I'm willing to help raise some money for scholarships for some of those kids to you know, maybe have some tumbling classes or something that kids would like to do. And here's my promise to you: I won't come back and complain if the kids don't use it. We won't ask for it twice, but we'll advertise it in our newsletter that goes to 1,800 households. We'll help you with that, and we'd like to see if that would work. It's important to keep these kids active and quit watching so much TV and trying to be gangbangers and stuff like that, and actually become productive and have some exercise and some good things to do. So we want to help the kids, and we're asking Shawnee County Parks and Rec to at least consider that. Down on the Wakarusa River, there's public access. I'd like to see a fishing pier built down there at your park, which is on Old 75. It won't cost a lot. I will help raise money for it, but I'd like to at least see a willingness to do something on the only public access place on the Wakarusa River. Okay, it's not all about the riverfront down here that Go Topeka keeps harping about, which will flood out every other year anyway, and you won't be able to have a park there anyway, and anybody with common sense would know that. And then the other years it'll be a drought, and it'll just be a dune park. But anyway, we'd like you to at least consider that. Now, on cutting costs in Parks and Rec, you took a lot of employees from the city, and I think you could do some middle management cuts there. I don't think you need all those middle managers, and I know that's painful, but the truth is, we live in some tough times. We're having this great roaring economy that the President and Congress keeps talking about, and so we all know it's good. So I do think we should offer cuts where they're appropriate. On the Expo Center, I watched a presentation, I know HR's here, where they were talking about, wow, we'd like to spend $64 million on this building that's about 25 years old. And I'm going, on what planet do you live on? The people can't afford that. But we can't even fix the potholes down at the south end of the parking lot. I've gone over and looked at them twice to make sure I'm really seeing this the way it is. And I do know about potholes that if you let them just continue to grow, just the freeze-thaw cycles that we have in this climate will bust that up, and if there's concrete underneath, it's going to get into that. And if it's gravel bed, you're going to have to dig all that out. And so the longer you put simple maintenance like that off, you know, it's just going to get worse. So I think you ought to fix it. I think that's part of ongoing maintenance. But I also have, as my custom, I have a way to make the money. I'm going to propose that we sell the naming rights to the Expo Center and raise some money and let a private company have the naming rights to the Expo Center. It's done all over the Midwest. I don't want to hear it can't be done. I know it can be done, and I know if it's given the right sales pitch, it can generate quite a bit of money, even in Topeka, Kansas, where we've lost 10,000 jobs in the last 10 years. So I know that it is a doable, workable idea, and I know that it just needs to be talked about and done. And I think it's time to offer it up and you know, take some proposals and see what's out there. The other thing, I've been talking to one of my friends that lives out in the county as well, and she says she did some research on you know, the management contract, and although I don't have a copy of that with me, I am concerned if we are giving out contracts to anybody that we don't have RFPs on. And I want to make sure that whenever we have management contracts for any entity, that we have RFPs where they're going to various public entities and they can bid on that. And then I was kind of surprised to see that that contract was renewed early last year instead of at the time that it would have expired at the end of the year. And that actually raised more questions than I got answers. I'm not quite sure why two county commissioners that aren't here did that. It bothers me. Then there's something else I'd like to see done in the future. I want a policy here at the county that we don't buy property, real estate, without appraisals. And that includes your duties as JADO members. But I'm told there was a piece of property bought by the county at 41st and California earlier this year before the two new commissioners came on board, and that there was a request for appraisals and through a Cora, and there were no appraisals. And you know, that's public money, and we have a very high standard for public money. It's called a fiduciary responsibility, and it just raises way too many questions when we see land bought by public entities, whether it's the county or the city or JADO, from private individuals without appraisals. It's very disturbing to me. It's disturbing to a lot of people that I share this information with. We don't like it. We've seen it go on with Go Topeka and JADO for ever since 2006, and it's time it stopped. And these are things that do affect the bottom line. So I'm about to close here, but I will tell you that we need to open up our economic development funds to everybody to participate in and compete for, because we are not getting good service through JADO. The lack of oversight, the lack of accountability, the woeful lack of transparency of where that money's going. We are not getting a good payback on that money. $60 million, and we can't find out where hardly any of it went with a Cora. And I think it's time for that to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Carol Marple. I live at 10249 Southwest Wanamaker Road in Wakarusa. And I'd like to say that I agree with everything that has been said here this evening. And I didn't come, but I think it does need to be said that I don't think anybody does a better job than John Cavis. He can strike terror in your heart when he calls you up and says, Ben, you've got musk thistles, you've got to get them sprayed. You know, he just does a tremendous job. I don't think any of you can realize the information that he gives out to people on mixes and how to control this and what to spray with. And I agree, I was in there picking up some chemicals the other day, and he was the only one there jumping through a zillion hoops. And he works, we provide services for other counties. We have got to keep our weed department. If we let the weeds start taking over, I mean, we'll never get them eradicated. In the drought, almost every thistle seed that was sprouted, and you know, we're just kind of back to square one. So I just can't understand a cut to his budget. On the taxes, every time Ben and I pay our taxes, we buy a small house. They're just horrible. And I sometimes get the feeling that it's forgotten. It's the people of this county that are paying the bills, paying the money in. And you know, one day we're going to wake up and there's not going to be any people in this county, but we're going to have a lot of nice gardens and nice inanimate objects, because the people cannot afford to live here and go to these places. And I will say that I was the one that talked to Joe about the Expo Center. I have a real problem with that. Commissioner Archer and Commissioner Cook, you get a pass on this because you weren't elected. But I see no reason why a contract was negotiated. I believe it was in March, and the contract did not expire until January 1 of this year. And then there was a lot, and we are talking about budget here. There was a lot of pat me on the back, we did such a good job. We saved $2,300. I do not have the exact amount, but I think that that is in one of the news articles or the TV, on the TV station, that was how much you got us, the savings was on that contract. Now to me, $2,300 compared to what we spend in the expo, I mean, that's nothing. So I don't think it was a savings. You know, we have got to be more responsible with the county's money, with my money. And we just cannot continue to tax us and raise it. You know, the checkbook's got to close. And I guess that's all I have to say, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? This time I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
It's a motion by Commissioner Cook,
Second.
second by Commissioner Archer. We're about to close the public hearing, but I do want to invite you over the next couple of weeks. We are going to continue to work on this budget. We'll be doing it at our regular commission meetings. We are streaming those live, but you're certainly welcome to contact any one of us, email, phone call, as we work through this budget and come to the conclusion of our 14 budget. So thank you all for coming, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
$7 million.